Grand Rising. Grand Rising. I'm on my morning mental this morning, and I bid you a Grand Rising. Welcome back. It's time to do it again. Grand Rising. To all of the children of the Most High that are tuning in, Grand Rising. I should also say Grand Rising to the members of the counterterrorism and dangerous groups department at Facebook and Instagram. You are a CIA element inside of this social media platform. I know who you are. You've only been in existence for about a month. And in that month, you ran around social media as you see fit under the crooked administration that you exist. And you have done nothing but violate the rights of Americans. Because the truth of the matter is you're not American. You are the fruit of a seed that was planted into the American government. Oh, I would say around 50, maybe 60, sometimes 70 years ago. You know who you are, and you know what you're really about. You know what you want to do to this country. You know who you really are. And we're beginning to see you. So when you run around censoring people, shutting people up who disagree with you, or silencing people who expose what you're doing, all you're doing is showing us you haven't changed a bit. Last time you marched people off to ovens. Before that, you enslaved people. You are a strain of creature that is our avowed enemy. And now you found a way into social media companies under the guise of we're trying to work with you. No, they're not. You're trying to control everybody. So Grand Rising to all of you all who are tuning in to the Morning Mental this morning. But I want you to realize that we are not alone in the room anymore. If you're wondering why certain pages are just disappearing, why all of a sudden we got the whole reason of coming to the internet in the beginning was the freedom. The whole purpose of coming on social media back in the day was the freedom. The entire purpose of leaving regular news channels and leaving places where we had to be told to shh ourselves was because of the freedom. It didn't take long for you all to take something that was beautiful and to turn it in nothing to nothing more than another example of the cruelty, the inhumanity, and the bastardness of your kind. And you brought it here. I left Facebook years ago because of that dumb shit. And I came over to Instagram before any of you all came over. Isn't it interesting now that that same stupid shit has come over here too? It is time for us to go. It is time for us to go. I told y'all I was leaving a while ago. Grand Rising to you too. I told y'all I was leaving a while ago. And a lot of y'all didn't want to leave. You said you were comfortable here. You said you enjoyed Facebook. Grand Rising, I'm on my morning mental. And you said that you didn't want to go. So I came back to get some of you. And now I find myself a victim. I don't want to use the word victim. A subject, a target. And of course, I always want to keep it transparent with you. If you are not aware, if you're using Facebook, if you're using Instagram, please be aware. They now have a department called Counterterrorism and Dangerous Groups. What is it with these people, these creatures, and their fear They are controlled by fear. Everything is a threat. You see, when you paranoid, when you are, when your DNA makes you paranoid, because you're always scared of everything, because you're not aware of what's going on all the time. You spooked. Then you tend to run around in a state of paranoia. But people who are not, people who are peaceful, people who are striving just to accomplish something, build something, achieve something, those people are the ones that they don't operate in fear. You do. So please be aware this morning as you tune into the morning mental that we are not alone. I saw a news article that just made me think that they continue to think y'all stupid. But how many of you all are aware, or how many of you all have heard, or how many of you all have noticed that there's something different, something wrong with our sun? The sun, the same sun that's rising on my face right now, the same sun that's energizing my melanin, the same sun that keeps me looking young while the rest of you all fall apart genetically, the same sun that allows me to continue to function at optimum peak, while you, on the other hand, have to avoid the sun because it'll kill you. Have you noticed that same sun looks dimmer these days? That same sun, it's not as hot as it used to be these days. That same sun has more of a white to reddish look than it used to. You noticed all of that. Excuse me, Grand Rising. I noticed it too. Well, I've been watching the sun for a long time. You have to know the meaning of a cover story. A cover story, meaning they don't want you to know the truth. So they put out a story yesterday saying that the Earth is headed for an ice age. If you don't know what the ice age is, go do your research. It said there's going to be a 30-year ice age because the sun will be going into what it's called a minimum. It's actually going to sleep. It's going into hibernation. I'm sorry, I don't ever remember hearing that talked about in school. When did the sun hibernate? Why does the sun have to hibernate? Or maybe there's something going on you're not telling us about. That 30-year hibernation begins, according to them, in 2020. So you're telling me that from 2020 until 2050, we're going to be in some form of an ice age. You're telling me that the summers will be cooler and wetter than they've ever been because the sun is going to sleep. I'm sorry, guys. You got to go back to the drawing board and come up with something better than that. You see, it's a coincidence that now you're trying to blame it on the sun when you're the ones putting aerosols in the air, trying to reflect the sunlight. Without doing your proper studies on the side effects of what would happen to the Earth systems, storms, weather patterns, and so forth. In your short-sightedness, caveman, what you've done basically is unleash the Pandora's box and set this planet on a path of destruction that you can't get it back from. So, as usual, you don't take credit for your fuck-ups, but try to take credit for everybody else's achievements. That's all I got to say about that. Now, let me flip the script for a second. Every now and then, people ask me questions, and I've been getting a lot of questions about a lot of different topics in my inbox. Here come the sun now. So this morning, now that I told you about the sun, and don't forget tonight on Facts Over Feelings, we begin the journey into the lessons on the what is it? The Nephilim, the Pyramid of the Apocalypse. Don't forget to tune in. Hopefully you have the book by now. I'm going to entertain some questions this morning. I'm not going to take any crazy questions. So if you have a serious question, post your question and let's see if it's enough for me to talk about it. Yes, talk black to the black man this morning. Let's see who has a question. By the way, there is about a 14 to 15 second delay on this live stream. I've noticed that because I've listened to people who come past me who have me turned on in their cars. And when I'm talking, I don't appear on their system for about 15 seconds. So it's going to take a minute for you to ask your question. And when you do, I'll see it and then I'll respond. But this is not instant. In fact, for life. Let's see. Can you? No, I will not do that. I'm not going to sit here and recommend the list of publishers and books to stay away from. Do your research. The goal to doing research is always look at the book and tell if it says an interpretation, if it says a commentary, if it says their perspective on it, then it ain't the real thing. Your goal is always to get to the original text. For instance, if I hand you a Bible and it says the King James Version, that's not the original. They're telling you on the book, it is a version. I don't want a version. I want the real thing. That's like somebody walking up to you and say, yo, here is Jay's version of weed. You're like, I don't want Jay's version of weed. I want real weed. If I walk up to you and say, this is Jay's version of money, you say, I don't want that money. I want the original money. I want the real money. Matter of fact, I want whatever the money is based on. If the money based on gold, put some gold in my hand. When you're doing your research, always consider two things: the source and the perspective. Next question. Is a flood, is a what? Is a flood upon us? No. Why would you say that? If you understand the structure of the 10 heavens, and you know what's in the first heaven, and you know where the gates of heaven are supposed to sit, and you know for a fact that there is water above the first heaven, those gates will not be opened anytime soon. Those gates are only open at the command of the Most High to the Kodash Madakim through the archangels, who then are commanded to open them. They will never open them again according to his word. Instead, he got something else for you. Here under the firmament, he has already decreed that your destruction will be by fire. And when that fire hits, no one is going to open the gates to extinguish them until we are all dealt with physically here, to push you into Sheol. Once into Sheol, all souls that are held there in the three divisions would then be released to stand upon the platform of judgment, where the mirror of souls is lowered and the true form of your soul is revealed. Absence of your body. Should you be pleasing to the eye of yourself, pleasing to the eye of the Most High, based on the true appearance of your soul, you will be permitted into the upper heavens. If not, you will then be cast into darkness because of the hideousness of your soul. So no more floods. Next question. It's what's happening in the skies affecting the Yellowstone quake vaults. Well, you're putting two things together that don't go together. What is happening to the Earth seismically is happening to every planet in the solar system. Do your research. There is something, as they say, that has been perturbing the orbits of the planets, affecting the temperatures on all planets, not just Earth, affecting the weather patterns on all planets, not just Earth. Some planets have heated up. Some planets that have been dormant for eons are now active, and the Earth itself is being pulled on. The Earth itself is experiencing seismic tremors, electromagnetic disturbances, and a wobble to the Earth. That's why the sun is not where it's supposed to be on some days, and in other days it is. They're not moving. You are. And the question becomes, what's making it happen? There's only one thing that could cause the Earth and every other object in the solar system to wobble and to activate. That would happen to be a large incoming object with extreme electromagnetism fields that is affecting not only all of the planets, but affecting the sun also. So you do the math. It's not just Yellowstone that's starting to shake. The whole goddamn planet has been shaking for some time. There are graphs that you can go and look up where you will see that the uptick in the number and the volume of earthquakes and the strength has been steadily increasing in the last 25 years, and that the scientists or whoever the seismologists have been lying to you and downgrading the intensity of those quakes. So it's not just Yellowstone. It's the whole planet. Here we go with another one. It says, when will you be going over the liberation papers? You're late. I went over the liberation papers last night. I spent extreme detail on them. Let me tell y'all something I don't like. I don't like people who come on my platform who have not kept up with the series and then ask uneducated questions about things we've already covered. Please go back and look at last night, which The Way Out. It is posted on YouTube and it is on this channel. And therein is your answer. I reviewed not only the liberation papers last night, I also reviewed the extension and the ascension papers last night in detail. I even told you where to go to look at them, how you get membership into the portal, because they're not open to the public, because many of you all are not worthy of that information because you weren't worthy enough to do the work. You want someone else to do the work so you can come along and scoop it up and then run around and try to imitate and fuck up what we're doing. So if you want to see them, go watch the last special that I just did about it, gain membership through the IACHR portal, and take a look at them yourself. And as I told everyone, unless you are specialized in international law, don't attempt to sit there with an 8th grade education and try to understand what you're looking at. You are a citizen of this internal ethno-nation now. Function within that. Get your shit together and get ready to move. And stop sitting around trying to play Monday morning quarterback about something that has been done for you. It is done. There's nothing you can do to change it. There's nothing you can do to modify it. All you can do is function under it. Or you can stay here as a slave. Next question. When would you be? Y'all, hold on a second. Send follow. Yeah. I'm going to go over this one last time because people keep getting it twisted. The proper process to join the NFAC goes like this. The first thing you do is you send your contact information to blacknfac.com. That's it. We're going to get your information. We're going to check you out. If you pass our checking process, you should not get a rejection email. So don't sit around talking about, hey, give my email, where's my email? Shut up. If you don't get that back, then that meant that you passed our vetting process. Next step, you must get the proper weapon, have a carry conceal, be able to get one, be of the proper age. You must be black, ex-military preferred, no law enforcement, no correctional officers. Sorry, no offense, but we can't trust you. Once we get you past that, you have to come to one of our formations, because then I get to meet you face to face. And everybody who came to Lafayette found out that for the first time, I injected myself into the registration process so I could meet each and every last one of you face to face, so I could see who you were or who you claimed to be. And then you had to give me some information right then and there. That's how we screen out fakes, wannabes, snakes, and spies. You know what I'm saying? At least the obvious ones. And then once you stood in the formation, then you are sworn in by me after you have put your life on the line. After that, then you are assigned to a chapter. And once you're assigned to the chapter will take it from there. That is the process. Next question. Do you have any info on the chariots that we're seeing daily in the skies now? What you're seeing in the skies are two things. And everything that I tell you, I don't ask you to believe anything. I ask you to go do your research. You see, first you have to understand that we have what we call a breakaway civilization. A breakaway civilization is defined as a group of people who come across some technology or come across some type of secret to the rest of us that advances their standard of living beyond what we have. I'll give you an example. Right now, and everybody puts gasoline in their cars, right? You all put gasoline in your cars, and that's how we get around, and we always on our way to the gas station. If someone has invented a way of, let's say, 0 point energy, or they know how to get energy out of the air like Tesla was talking about, and they decide not to share that with anybody, then they sneak off like Wakanda, and they have a breakaway civilization. Wakanda was actually a breakaway civilization. They separated themselves from everyone else, and they lived in their own bubble. But every now and then, they would fly over us so that we'd see something. Some of the things you're seeing in the skies are examples of a breakaway civilization. Some of the things you're seeing in the skies are advanced prototypes of technology that the U.S. government and other governments are sitting on. However, some of the things you're seeing these days are neither man-made nor are they part of a breakaway civilization. And this is not talking crazy. I'm not some conspiracy theorist. None of that bullshit's going on. But if you got eyes to see, you know what our technical limitations are. And there are other intelligences at work. How arrogant of man to think that someone as powerful as the Most High only made one life form. How arrogant of you cave people who can't even rebuild the pyramids would think that another group of beings would not come to this place like they're all about you. Have you ever noticed that when you see these things in the sky, they ain't worried about us. They on their own mission. They don't care about the cave people running around on the ground. They don't care about that. That's why they avoid us. That's why they stay so far away from us. And that's why anytime we've had an encounter with whoever these beings are, we lose. They are superior than us. Apparently, they have a higher technical standard than we do. Apparently, they know some physical laws we don't. Apparently, they've cracked some mathematics that we haven't yet. And you are standing there just like the monkey looking up at the moon, trying to say, ooh, what's that? So I hope that answers your question. The question we really should be addressing is, why now? Why so many? Why? Because it's written, and every eye shall see me as a blinding bolt of light. It also says, and I shall give you signs and wonders in the skies. So rather than sitting around questioning what they are, what you should be asking yourself is why they are. Why now? Why are they so obvious? Why am I seeing these things? Because if you all remember what Mother Shipton said, if you don't know who Mother Shipton was, please go in and research who Mother Shipton was. Mother Shipton prophesied long time, like 15th century, long time ago. She said that in the days when men will fly through the air as if they had wings, or when men would travel below the ocean as if they were fish. She's talking about airplanes and submarines. This woman was back in the 15th century and wrote this. She said, when that time comes, when men will love men, and women will love women, and children will no longer be off limits. At such a time, then the true creator will begin to manifest itself, just like you close your hands around the doorknob. I'm on the morning mental. That's when the time will be right for the return, as they say. Let me get another question here. I'm going to comment on what this sister said right here. Somebody said the heavenly bodies aren't the only thing here at this time. You say the heavenly bodies. Your arrogance and your ignorance offends me. There are no heavenly bodies. If you studied the first book of Enoch with Yahweh's name restored, it talks about the luminaries. It gives you the mathematics of the luminaries. It gives you the procession from the 6 gates to the 6 gates. And it talks about the luminaries being the moon, sun, and the stars. The luminaries serve a very specific purpose. The luminaries are obedient to the Most High. And those luminaries that are not obedient to the Most High are imprisoned in 4th heaven to be tormented and await judgment. Let me go to the next question. Do you believe in Black Genesis by Robert, that the pyramids are aligned with Orion's belt? All right. So obviously haven't been with me for a while. I actually did a series on Black Genesis. As a matter of fact, everything that he's written. It is no secret that the ancient Egyptians had a very high degree of astronomy, astrological information, and that at one time this entire planet was, we were the home of a very advanced civilization. The sad part is the reason you don't know anything about that and they don't teach you about that because they like to leave out the fact that they were black people. So they're not going to teach you about that. You don't want to give black people credit for that. You know, it's funny to me. Black people at one time had the greatest civilization that ever existed. And the people who could never, ever rise up to that level to this day are still butthurt about it. So they don't want you to know who you really was. They don't want you to know the heights that you rose to. They don't want you to know how great you really were. They want you to think that the first is this and we just discovered this. No, we didn't just discover nothing. You did. You rediscovered what we forgot. That's what this really is about. Now, since it's no secret that we were very, I'll give you an example, the Dogon tribe. You know about the Dogon tribe. The Dogon tribe is a bunch of people down in Africa. It's a tribe in Africa that they always show pictures of them being these primitive people sitting around with, little beads in their ears and they got on grass skirts. And so you would think they were a bunch of primitives, but that's not the truth when you study their history. You find out that the Dogons have some knowledge that even we didn't have. The Dogons said that they came from a certain star system. They showed you drawings of the star system and they say they were brought here. These people are blacker than my shirt. They said that their leader, their person that brought them here is someone that has now left them this roadmap. And for a long time, everybody thought it was just some creepy drawing that they had until astronomy determined that they were actually aligning up with the star Sirius and that they were actually detecting a star system behind that you couldn't see with the naked eye. So how did they know this? Astronomy, the alignment of the stars, the understanding of the ethereal energies that float through the universe is a bed of knowledge that's been lost to us for centuries. Yes, the pyramids are aligned with Orion. But then again, tonight when I teach the Nephilim, the pyramid of the apocalypse, I think you'll want to hold that question because we're going to again begin to shatter some of those theologies and things that you think you know. I'll see you tonight on Facts Over Feelings. Let's go to the next question. I wanted to talk to you this morning, so I want educated questions. People always ask me questions after the fact. Y'all, hold on. Let me skip down because there's a million questions here. Hold up. We're going to get there. All right, here we go. The question is, no, I don't want no statements. I want questions. Hold on a second, y'all. The Real Yoga Flame says, I understand that we have to leave some behind, but I don't often find myself trying to get other brothers and sisters to listen to you and to open their eyes. However, they don't take any of this seriously. Then they are fulfilling prophecy. It is written that in the last days, many will ridicule and reject. And that's why y'all ever wonder how we get to 144,000. You ever wonder how we get to 500 million? Because everyone is not going to go along. Yep. I really hate to be cruel to people when I say this, but y'all keep asking for it on the regular. Look, some people are stupid. They can't help it. That's just the way they are. The same way I'm highly intelligent. Some people are highly stupid, and there's nothing you can do to change it. You can talk to them all day. They're not going to get it. They're incapable of getting it. So as the old scripture says, never cast your pearls before swine. That means stop dropping knowledge in front of pigs. They won't get it. They wallow in mess. They eat shit. That is their life. You're trying to feed them a vegan meal and they want to eat shit. Stop wasting your time. And most importantly, see people for who they really are and stop trying to save them into what you think they are. That's the truth. Oh, we got another question here. Yes. Okay, give me another one. Have you heard of the Akashic records? All right, so let's dig back a little deeper than that. I could say yes and leave it at that. But then again, I'd have to turn around and ask you this question. Are you familiar with the ancient Egyptian gold codes? You see, the gold codes are the true origins of the Akashic records. The gold codes that they never talk about. Matter of fact, I should do a class on the Egyptian gold codes because that is the true question you need to ask. But it's an entire class. It is not a simplistic answer. But to answer your question, yes. Would you like to know more? Next question. Can you talk about the alignment of December 21st? Well, first, let us talk a little bit about the alignment that you missed. Yeah. On August 21st of 2017, you all had what you called the Great Eclipse. You remember that. It was a very unique event because numerically it should never have happened. What you failed to realize is it was a marker that was given to you by the Creator to let you know that 33 days after this marker, the great sign as depicted in the book of Revelations in chapter 12 and 13 will come true. Now, when we first heard about this, that this could happen, this is back in 2017. It took a few of us. This goes back to whoever asked the question about the alignment of the pyramids. When we went back and we looked, and everyone's taking a look at this, and anyone who claims to be into the metaphysical, who claims to be into mysticism and science, who claim to be all these things, they would have told you this. They would have broke it down to you. They wouldn't have sat there and continued to talk about what's going to happen. They would have told you what actually happened. So let me help you out. 33 days after the great eclipse, the great sign appeared in the skies. And when people say the great sign, what do they mean? Well, you go study the scriptures. Remember, they wrote it in such a way so the obvious couldn't pick it up. It said that a time would come when a woman would give birth and that when the child would be delivered, that it would be devoured immediately and so forth. And that would be the beginning of the 7 years tribulation. Well, when they started looking at this, they realized that they were not talking about a real woman. They were talking about the constellations in the sky. So if you looked in the sky around September 23rd of 2017, you would have found out that all 9 of the planets were in alignment, but the alignment was unique and it won't happen again for another 26. Well, it's not that it won't happen. It can't happen for another 26 million years. And it hasn't happened in the last 26 million years, which meant that what was happening was in fact one of a kind and unique. When you have Virgo, who was the woman, with Jupiter in her womb in retrograde, where it stayed there for 9 months. How long does it take to have a child? 9 months. At the end of the 9 months, it said in the scriptures that her foot would be on the sun would be at the moon would be at her feet and the sun would be at her head. And that's exactly what the alignment was. When Jupiter moved between her legs as to give birth, it was consumed by the imagery of the moon. In other words, it actually happened. It was an alignment and most people missed it. A lot of you all missed it. I actually documented it on my old page in Israel, they actually had a ceremony with the sun going down, and they stayed on. I remember they stayed on the air for like almost 24 hours, just pointed at the sky at this particular spot. It actually happened. The alignment that you should be asking questions about is not the one that's going to happen on the 21st, because it won't. There is no alignment on the 21st. You're getting your data mixed up. The alignment already happened as foretold in the book of Revelations. You are in the third year of the 7-year tribulation, and everything, if you study the book of Revelations in chapter 12, 13, and 14, you'll find out exactly where we are right now. What's happening on the 21st on the Solstice is there's a chance that there could be some asteroid action. There could be some electromagnetic action. But what you're missing is what I taught you back in May, if you were here. If you just showed up because you heard some hubbub about NFAC or something like that, you way behind the power curve. I told you back in March, April, that once the comet passes us in May, it will swoop around the sun and it will make its return trip in December of this year. And if the Earth is too far ahead in its orbit, then that comet will smash into the Earth. That's why they took the movie Greenland out of circulation. But if the Earth is slower, the comet will pass us and we'll pass through its tail. And when we do, we will pass through the debris field of that comet. That's why you're seeing so many meteors now. That's why they're coming faster and faster. We're passing through a debris field. Don't worry about some alignment. What you should be worried about is the fact that the Earth is passing through the debris tail of several objects, that something is inbound into the solar system that is perturbing all planets and causing our sun to bow down to it, so to speak. The sun was raging at one time. Oh, it was sending out a coronal mass discharge, and it was acting a fool. Now even the sun is calming down. It's not about an alignment, because that doesn't fit into the scriptures. What it does say is, in the last days, and every eye shall see me as a blinding bolt of light. And even if you don't believe none of that, if you just want to dig into the Sumerian scriptures where you can find the planet of the crossing, planet of the crossing in Sumerian language is Nibiru. If you believe in the Anunnaki, if you believe in any of that, you got one or two choices here on this morning mental. A, that we are in the 7-year tribulation and that we are about to witness the return of the Messiah, or B, you don't believe none of that, that the Anunnaki about to pull up because they own a 3,600 year cycle. They about to pull up, and they've probably already done pulled up. And when they pull up, they're going to come down here and find out what in the hell has been going on. We left y'all and we had everything set up just right. We come back and the rulers are being ruled. The servants are in control. Matter of fact, the nut house is being ran by the crazy people, and they're going to fix all of that. So pick which path you want to go down, but do understand this. Something is about to happen. And if you don't believe people like me or anybody else, you go ahead and believe what you want to believe. You can stick your hand in the sand. You can stick your head up your ass. I wouldn't care. The bottom line is, as for me and my house, we're going to be properly informed, properly aligned with the Most High, properly ready to take up the sword as we're instructed to in the book of Enoch. A lot of y'all sitting around waiting. I'm waiting on my savior. You are the savior. Save yourselves. But y'all ain't got to believe me. Keep on doing you. Let me go a little further. How can we break the Willie Lynch system? The only way we can break the Willie Lynch system is to kill everybody who's still infected by it and start fresh. We know that ain't going to happen. So you can't break it. It's just like having a bad habit when you have alcoholism or drug addiction. You have to get yourself out of it. You have to remove yourself from being addicted to that drug. You might have to go to some therapy and listen to people like me try to wash your minds. You have to unwash the brainwash. Otherwise, kill the whole crop and start all over again. Are your recorded teachings prior to May 2020 accessible? That's a good question. I don't understand your question. Are my recorded teachings prior to May 2020? My recorded teachings did not start until somewhere around, I would say, August of 2019. You all don't seem to get it. I have evolved. My teachings evolved because something had to change. All of my recordings are in my possession. However, where they are available online, you can see that they used to be available all the way back to 2014. But now that we have the Department of Dangerous Groups, they're going around erasing all of them. So if you don't have them, you won't have them. Someone has asked me, would I take all of my teachings and put them on CDs, and would I put them in would I sell them to you? Unfortunately, no. I was told never to sell the truth. I was told to tell the truth. So if it's what's for you is for you. If they come into your possession, they were meant for you. If you can't find them or you can't get them, they were never meant for you. How do we get demands for the black community met before the elections? You can't. You need to deal with that. You're out of time. You cannot. There's no way for the entire black community to conduct a census to determine what those needs are, which means every black person, which is something which I've talked about and taught about, and which Chancellor Williams even teaches about in the book Destruction of the Black Civilization, that has to happen first. You see, the truth of the matter is black people need to step out of the game for a second. They need to step away from voting. They need to step away from that bullshit for a second. They need to have an internal meeting where we all decide what's important to us. Y'all heard me say this before. Once we determine what's important to us, we make out a list. We all agree to that list. We all agree to stand behind that list on one accord. Then we step back into the game, and anybody who wants to lead or anybody who wants to be in power, you have to agree to these terms. You got to sign the document. These are your deliverables. Once that happens, then we can get together and register people to vote, because the power will be directed at something that's beneficial for us. What I don't understand about you black people is you'll bend over backwards to make the master happy, but you won't do the work to take care of yourself. You're out of time right now. You can play this idiotic game right now if you want to and get all caught up in the fact that they put a woman on TV who happened to have some black blood in her because they think that's all your vote is worth. That's how stupid they think you are. They knew that nobody wanted to hear these old white men talk. So they went and found this I want to be black sometime, but lock niggas up woman and stuck her on TV. And all you silly, mindless, 8th grade educated motherfuckers gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I think I'm gonna vote for her. But when you had real bros out here trying to do something for you, when you had real names on the ballot, they made sure y'all didn't see none of us, because we would have got in there and shook shit up, made history, fixed shit for our people, and still led the nation the way it should have been. So please don't ask me, is it too late? Yeah, it's too late. There ain't shit you can do right now, but y'all can start getting it together for 2024. If you still gonna be here. I know I won't be here. I know my peoples won't be here. But for all of you Negroes that still gonna sit here and play that game and live under the rule of somebody else, that's what you need to do. But I'm pretty sure that'll go in one ear and out the other. Y'all forgive my sarcasm. It's just that I've seen how my people act. You talk a big game, but you do nothing. You want to have conventions after conventions, round table after round table. Big shout out, me checks. You want to sit around and have round table after round table and have a good conversation about what you want to do and what you're going to do. You great at starting organizations, but you piss poor at bringing anything into fruition. And it's time for you to start producing instead of just talking about producing. Let's go back to the next question. I'm gonna keep going. If you have a question, now is your time to publish your question. Entertaining these questions this morning. Will you speak briefly on the United Black Comet Nation? No, I spent an entire show last night for an hour and a half on the UBKN. I went over the liberation papers. I'm done talking about that, and I've given that information. That episode is available on YouTube. Let's keep going. Yes, not everyone not going to be down. All right, folks, I'm seeing a lot of comments, but I'm not seeing any questions. I came to hang out with you this morning because I wanted you to get, this is your chance to fire off some questions. Normally I don't talk to you, but I'm in the mood to hear what you have to say this morning, because they say the sun is going to sleep. Well, if the sun is going to sleep, I need to shine some light. You have these questions. Now, you see, this is the part that I find interesting. You see, a child can sit there and just say anything. But if you talk to a child and ask them a question, they'll be quiet. But an adult will ask their question. What is your question on the morning mental? Type your question in. Let me see what we got. I am Mary Ann, asked McFadden 5367. Where did you buy the book of Enoch with Yahweh's name restored? If you bought it, you're an idiot. You don't buy it because it's not available to be bought. If you bought it, we bought some white man's version, which means you are reading a lie. The book of Yahweh the book of Enoch with Yahweh's name restored, is a version that is available for free online. If you don't know where it is, then simply ask me in the DM and I will connect you to it. You see what they've done to you? They done got you so brainwashed that you are brainwashed into the word being sold to you, not told to you. If you want to know where it is, ask me. I'm going to shatter something that I just saw that AT&T underscore BDA said. They said, let go and let Yah. If I hear that shit one more time, leave that slave master church shit outside. That is not what Yah said. This ain't no let go and let Yah. You see, that's what the slave master did to you. Stop having control of your own life and put it in the hands of somebody you can't see. That way, whatever happened, you can just blame it on them. That is not what Yah told us. If you remember, I specifically taught you in the first book of Enoch in chapter 92, it says, I empowered you to pick up the sword against your oppressors. It says, I empowered you to uplift yourselves. That's what it said. It says, I created you and gave you all of the tools that you need. You don't have to come to me for nothing. Get off your knees, get off your face and lift up your hands and do the work. There is no let go and let Yah, because you are a tool of his. So you are the hands, you are the feet, you are the eyes, you are the brain. The truth of the matter is it should be, Yah, let me go so I can do what you purpose me to do. If you have your question, type your question in. We're only going to be here a little while longer. Somebody said next formation. Why are you worried about it? How about there may not be any more formations? We've done enough showing and we've recruited enough people. If you're in this because of the mission, then you shouldn't worry about a formation. If you're in it because you just want to be a part of something, you can point to your friends and say, hey, I did that. This is not a social club. The next formation is going to be the 1,000,002A formation, 1,000,000 guns in one place in the spring of 2021. So if you really want to be a part of something historical, start making your plans to be a part of the largest assemblage of all black, legally armed people ever. Are you a vegan? Are you a vegan? Are you a vegan? How do we go? Okay, your question makes no sense. I think two questions are merged together. How do we let go of fear of self? That is personal for everyone. That is personal for everyone. Everyone's method, everyone's path is different. That's what makes this world unique. We're not cookie cutter. What works for me will not work for you. And what works for you won't work for the next person. Before you can let go of a fear, you have to first realize what is it you're afraid of. You have to admit what your fear stems from. For instance, why are white people so afraid of black people with guns? Well, let's look at where their fear stems from. Wouldn't be the fact that you enslaved them for 400 and some odd years, brutalized them to the point where you know that they're going to pay your ass back. So if you know that that's the cause of your fear, how about you deal with the cause and then you don't have to deal with the fear no more. The way that you let go of the fear is you have to attack the source. Your teachings are similar to the Jehovah's Witness, or are they? Not at all. And I don't know how you drew that similarity. Obviously, your third eye is not open. Go back and listen to some of my lessons. And go back and research Jehovah's Witnesses also. Do you know? What was that? Go back. It says, do you know? I can't read that one. Okay, I'll do one more. They'll remain until they tap into God's wisdom, right? Can we have formation? Just one. Is intuition just one's gut feeling? Oh, that's a great question. Who asked me that? Somebody who's hiding out under our name. Intuition is not gut feeling. Your intuition, you're getting that confused. There are two things. First, there's what you call you having the ability to be what we call a good judge of character. Okay, you have to have the ability to judge people. That's a gift. It's called the gift of discernment. And when your gift is tingling and it's telling you, something ain't right about this, that's your gift of discernment, kind of like your warning, telling you that something's, no, don't do this. However, don't confuse the gift of discernment, your intuition, with the sound of the Creator talking to you. You see, if you were a real student of facts over feelings, you remember I shattered the myth that praying is out loud. I showed you in the ancient text that to pray is internal. It is spirit to spirit, not flesh to lips. That's something that they made up because they believe that words have power. And since words have power, they've taught you how to recite spells that repel your Holy Spirit. Your praying is internal. It is internal. It communicates to you internally. That's why things come to you in dreams, comes to you in visions, comes to you in prophetical ways internally. That's why you have precognition internally. That's why you have admonitions internally. So everything that happens is internal. Your spiritual communication is internal, not external. When you hear the voice of Yah talking to you, sometimes we confuse that with our own intuition. That's why they say be silent and be still and listen. I'll do one more. We're on the morning mental. Grand rising to everyone. I'm going to go back and this is not a question. It's a false statement. Yes, the dead knows of the living. You are a blatant, uneducated liar. Those whose souls have already processed through this realm, those whose souls are now resting in Sheol, in one of three places pending the judgment, have zero knowledge or zero visibility into this current classroom or world. If that was the case, you're putting them on the level of the Kodesh Madakim. No one has that ability but the Watchers. No one has that authority but those designated by the Creator, on down through the archangels, on down through the Kodesh commanders, on down to the guardian angels that oversee this reality, all 10 heavens. They are aware of all souls and their disposition. For you to sit there and think that souls, who are the creation of the Creator, have visibility and knowledge of other creations, brings the Creator down to your level, which is the most arrogant, insulting, and offensive thing to the Creator that could ever. And for you all who don't believe me, that's because you can't perceive me. Those of you all who haven't studied deeply will not even believe me, but trust and believe that when he embodies himself into the flesh and sits before you, that he gets offended by the fact that you look at the Creator as if he's an equal, and that you have the visibility and the power. You have done your part here. Your disposition has already been determined. I keep hearing him. You know, this is Bahan Sean says, I keep hearing about the Anunnaki. Don't hear about them. Go read a few books about them. Go and read all of Zachariah Stitchin's books about the Anunnaki. Go read the Anunnaki Chronicles. Go read the lost books of Enki and Elil. Go read, y'all. What is it about reading that you people don't like? My people perish for lack of knowledge. One last question, and I got to go. It says the dream. I can't remember the day we were being put on ships. Okay, I ain't got time for that. Next, we keep going. Looking for the question. Looking for questions. Looking for intelligent questions. I'm in the mood for somebody to talk to the black man. If I come get your class, don't start a chat. Just come to class, please. I miss class when you do that. Let me check you on something very quickly. I do what I choose to do. I am not here to serve your purpose. Remember, you clicked on my picture. And if you want to go and have somebody who just sits there and feeds you information and never talks to you, then you leave my presence and never come back. I find that highly offensive. I do what I want to do, not what you want me to do. Doesn't seem. No, I don't do in live person classes because you people tend to think that you're just as educated as teachers and you believe in debating. I don't do debates. That's your problem. You want to debate with somebody. I'm about trying to accomplish something. Yes, all of my IG pages are in IG jail right now. And I know there's a lot of information in those pages you all are waiting, but I am seriously debating that I may never let it come out of IG jail. I already have all of the information downloaded. All of everything that was on my pages are in my possession. And you all should do this from time to time. Request all your information from Instagram and Facebook before they shut your stuff off. I have everything. I may not ever let those pages come back and keep all of that information and post it on a private site. And then folks can come in and look at what they want to. So if you're sitting here thinking, I'm just going to wait till his page come back up, it may not come back. I may never bring that back until the 100 and some thousand people that were there. Don't worry. You found me before. You'll be able to find me again. I'm entertaining your questions this morning, written questions. Why should the NFAC, now that we have no, who should NFAC now that we have no time left? Okay, your question didn't make any sense. Keep going. Hello, my people. Teach black man. Okay, so I can see that nobody else has any intelligent questions. Okay, folks. I wanted somebody to talk to the black man so I could answer some of your questions. They don't want to have real black folks on the ballot, obviously. I'm going to give praise to the Most High. Well, we're going to take some time to figure out if anybody has anything serious on their mind before I go. Again, this has been the Morning Mental. I was entertaining your questions this morning. I've had some good ones. Again, they have a department that now takes down posts immediately and takes down pages if we say certain things. Censorship has arrived on Facebook in its entirety. Welcome to the Morning Mental. Just putting some things on your mind for you to think about and go research as you go through your day, and let folks know, in spite of what you think about me as a black person, you don't know about me as a black person. Make sure you look somebody in the face and tell them that. In the meantime and in between time, y'all have a great day. Stay out of trouble. Don't become the source of trouble. Remember, you go from being a subject to a citizen when you arm yourselves in a heartbeat. I will see y'all tonight. Facts over feelings. We begin the series on the Nephilim, the pyramid of the apocalypse. I'll see you then. Shalom.